One farmer says, seems to me there was a tea party in Boston that was illegal too.
I have directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold.
We shall seek to establish and maintain a dollar which will not change its purchasing and debt-paying power during the succeeding generation.
As anguished shrieks rose up from the floor of the New York Stock Exchange.
Government credit and government currency are really one and the same thing. A reserve of gold and a small reserve of silver.
So, and I said, well, what if it does happen? And he says, well, price will solve everything. I said, thanks, give me the gold. You know?
Why do central banks hold it? Well, it's a form of reserves. So why don't they hold diamonds? Well, it's tradition, long-term tradition. Well, some people still think it's money.
Welcome back to the Junius Maltby Channel. Give me a volume check. We had to reset everything up. Mrs. Maltby reorganized and redecorated the office a little bit with my assistance. So this is the first time this technology has been set up in this order. I'm now stuffed into the left corner of the room, which is where Mrs. Maltby used to sit. Same old mic, same old chaotic mess of some cables. But give me a sound check. You know, I don't know. 10 being it's so loud your eardrums are bleeding. 1, your volume's maxed all the way out and you can't hear me still. Check, make sure it's not on mute. You know, some of you have had some serious problems in the past with getting audio. Some of you I'll never be able to help. I've seen the comments, and when 99% of the people are not having a problem, and you are with your speakers, to get new speakers or something. But here we are. We're gonna let's see. Can I see? Let's see. Sound is fine. 6.9 out of 10 from Waqua. That's good, I guess. I'll go with a 6. You know, that's a good average for now. We'll go with that. 69% here. Yeah, we'll go with that. I got a meme pulled up for you. A friend of mine sent me that the other day. Had me on the floor in stitches. I didn't want to talk about this subject because it's so boring. It's about as boring as episode 3 of Star Wars, which was actually about trade wars. Probably the worst, one of the worst movies ever made. Definitely of that genre and that, what do they call those? Like a collection of movies of one story. Mrs. Maltby, can you help me? You're my Jamie. You have to pull things up. What is it called when, like, a collection of a particular story in movies? They have a word for it. There's a word for it. Somebody in the chat.
Like the same,
different
short films in one movie.
Like it'll have. And I'm not going to stop until I figure it out. It's no, not a trilogy. Bigger than that. Like it's somewhat like synonymous with series.
Anthology.
That's not it either. We're going to go through all the words here. It's not. Because it's not a trilogy anymore. There's 6 of them. It's
a saga.
Nope. Think bigger, like business. Like it's a collection of, or it's a franchise. Boom! Did you see that? Brictator. The guy's a genius.
Of course. Didn't describe that well.
No, I didn't have to. He got it. Brictator got it.
Yeah, well,
that's super level genius right there. It makes sense. If any of you ever have a chance, check out his animations. His leg.
Oh my gosh,
they're phenomenal.
Lego movies.
I know.
Insane.
I would love to be like a character, like just an act, like a little Lego actor in his Lego franchise. He's got a Brictator has a franchise.
His videos.
Yes, he has a franchise. Back to it. If you ever get a chance, there's a really good movie review of episode 3 by Red Letter Media. He said it was the most disappointing thing since his son overdosed in a truck stop bathroom. Something like that. Yeah. Anyways, he's got a great way of putting it. It's really hilarious. But tariffs. Everyone's freaking out. Most people are too stupid. You're talking about people in America that took the COVID shot for a free donut. And now they're suddenly like international trade experts regurgitating headlines, coming up with all manners of reasons why they don't work and we can't have them. And these are the people who wanted to make corporations pay their fair share. And then when corporations have to pay any money, they freak out because MSNBC told them to. Oftentimes, I've used the reactions of certain demographics in society to just figure out what's the most intelligent position. And typically when you see the most retarded segments of society flipping out about anything, if you take the opposite tact of them, you're going to find yourself on the intelligent side or the more logical and articulate side. And it doesn't matter. You got to erase the political lines, the red, the blue. Is there a green party still? I mean, you could erase that line too. Doesn't matter if it's Trump, doesn't matter if Obama, whoever. Just erase all the names, the parties, and just look at the other things. I got a cool article pulled up that'll put it, and this is going to be boring stuff. This is, garbage, really. This is, again, back to the Junius Maltby Channel, the most boring channel on YouTube, all right? I coined that over 10 years ago, and it still holds true to this day, the most boring channel on YouTube. But these are, again, welcome back, the extemporaneous ramblings of a madman, as always, broadcasting live and unscripted. Tariffs. I got some stuff pulled up. We'll take a look at them. And if I'm feeling really rebellious, we'll get to the tax part because I paid my taxes this year. I was a good boy, So whoever's listening in from that agency, again, if we could go off on the taxes and tariffs. There's so many things, many directions you could take this conversation, and we'll get there. We'll look at some metals prices. I feel bad I've been gone a while, but of course you all know we've been busy. I've been busy. Mrs. Maltby's been busy dealing with her medical situation and such. So, I saw something today also in perusing the septic tank of information that we all swim in every day, and it was pretty interesting. It was the difference in the timelines that we're in. And look, you guys, I am not a Trump fan. I like the guy in the ways that he's pissing off certain people, but failing in so many areas, especially with the Middle East policies. Need I say more on that? Stop tucking that guy's chair in. What's his real name? Go do some research on what's his real name. Where does he come from? Who paid him? Why does he have a social security number? Etc. All those things. But back to it, even though he's failing in certain areas, the Biden administration and his puppets, handlers, he was a geriatric marionette in a pair of Depends. We know that now. But the people that were making decisions for him, A1 Savage gets it. Look at this. So many guys. You realize, Mrs. Maltby, we might have perhaps the most brilliant chat. These guys fire off answers that less than 1% or 1% of America would ever even have a grasp on. Let me see. I should go to the chat real quick before I get lost here. Just to welcome. Everyone's good. There's so many of you here today, and I'm appreciate welcome all of you. A1 Savage again, Brick Tater, thanks for stopping by, giving me that answer earlier. Red Dawn, Edubs 21, welcome. Actual Surfer, Platinum Gnome, who else we got in there today? Nigel Best, Nigel.
We're making plans for Nigel.
We were singing that. Yes, yeah. We're only making plans for Nigel. We only want what's best for Nigel. It's a great song, actually. Bitabai, good to see you. Clatra01, good to see you. All of you. Low blood pressure, glad to have you guys. Everyone here, welcome. Good. Okay. The Biden handlers. Remember they hired like 80,000 new IRS agents to go after us and to go after people with like $600 in their bank account or somebody who sold something on eBay. And then now everyone's all pissed off because Trump hired a guy who works for free to fire all those people, fire more people, cut, and cut some more, save money, and potentially, maybe ease the burden on the U.S. taxpayer. That could all be a mirage, could all be smoke and mirrors. I really don't care. I wrote a long thing to a friend of mine earlier this week on the level of which I don't care as far as like just broadcasting some apathy into a little group chat that I'm in just to kind of sprinkle some reality in there. Because honestly, a lot of days about this stuff, this material. It's just IDGAF. I just don't care, man. I'm telling you. I haven't even really been looking at the markets as much. I haven't looked at metals as much, prices, the news about the tariffs. But we're going to get into it because the conversations have been there. I've reviewed tariffs in the past on this channel. We've discussed tariff policies, taxation policies, how tariffs used to exist in place of the income tax, and how they lessened the burden, the financial burdens of the U.S. taxpayers. There was a great chart out earlier this week on the percentage of people that filed taxes in it was 1913, I believe. Did you know the percentage of people in the country that filed their taxes that year was 2% or less? And it was like that for many years until about 1944, 45, and then suddenly everyone in America started paying their taxes. I don't know. I think it coincides with the ability of them to kill you or put you in a cage more efficiently. There's a lot of reasons for it psychologically, of course. You know, the propaganda of World War II probably helped out a little bit. But let's get into the tariff conversation. Let's just get right into it. This meme kind of sums it up. Find out where you are because you fall somewhere on this meme, I would imagine. There's the Virgin Tariffs worrier. They panic over trade policy. They got all their news from the Los Angeles Times. With mainstream media, MSNBC, you can insert any of them. There's a huge list. They fight with people on World of Warcraft. They get all their news from the mainstream media. And they obsess over imports and exports. And then there's the Chad, quote, "We'll see what happens, LMAO, laughed my ass off," unquote. Doesn't give a shit. Sits back and relaxes, the unbothered king. Find yourself on the right side of this. And if anything, there could be a third. You could be a guy that's like, I kind of like tariffs. I kind of don't care. I don't care. If let's put it this way, if you just ordered like a Gulfstream jet, I guess it was made in America. Let's say you bury, I don't care, an expensive aircraft, you're really rich, and it's coming from Europe, made in Germany or France or something, and you've got to pay a newfound tax on that increases the price, or let's say it's a luxury yacht made somewhere else, or maybe the company you run sells coffee and you're importing non-U.S. grown coffee. So not Hawaiian. Maybe it's grown in, I don't know, some other place like Panama or somewhere in Africa. Ethiopia, I guess, makes good coffee, right? That's where it was discovered, I believe. And you got to pay like some new 10% tax on, your giant shipment of 8 tons of coffee. Okay, then. Figure it out. Figure out your prices. It's funny how people will flip out about the tariffs and the increase of prices there. They'll take to the streets. They're burning things. They're scratching their keys into cars and spray painting swastikas. And I mean, they're just having seizures over. A lot of people losing it, right? But they'll sit back and they'll gulp down with a spoon 25% inflation and the rising costs of everything to the detriment of fixed income earners and pensioners and the fragile and the more vulnerable segments of society, retirees and the older people on Social Security, little old women and stuff. They won't say a word about that, really. But as soon as, you get a couple of tariffs, these people lose it. They start jumping up and down because they're told to. Again, remember, most of them, they're just instructed. Their behavior is orchestrated by flicker light on a screen, words, sound bites, and guys like, let's just go to this guy real quick. Let me get my mouse. Do I have a mouse pad, Mrs. Maltby, over here? Because this thing doesn't work very well. There we go. Let me get this guy here. That would work, I guess. Yeah.
This
I get
would be a mouse pad.
So this guy here, real quick, this is, but on this side, like, it doesn't work if it's over, the mouse has to be over here. The pad has to be over here with the mouse.
Here.
There we go. There we go, then. And it's pink. Of course it is. Of course it's a pink mouse pad. This is, I'm just going to show you real quick. One of the dancing marionette puppets. Oh, here we go. We got to have an ad. We'll get it. We'll get through it. We'll get through it together. And there we go.
An announcement that sent stock markets back into free fall.
Back into free fall.
Contemplates the world's two biggest trading partners bringing global commerce to a halt. Now, basically, every economist across the spectrum, with maybe a few exceptions, thinks this is a disaster.
Not really. The ones you listen to.
Wall Street Journal, who helped elect Donald Trump twice, are absolutely
Did we miss the beginning?
F out that Donald Trump is killing free trade in the American economy.
Oh, here it is. Listen to the beginning
of the second Donald Trump presidency, and we are on the precipice of a trade war that has no precedent in modern history.
No precedent
Trump's saying that starting
in modern
tonight,
history.
midnight,
It's the
U.S.
end.
will tax imports from China
Good.
at a rate of 104%.
Good.
An announcement that sent stock markets back into free fall as everyone...
All right. We're not even going to watch the full thing because we don't want to give MSNBC the views. I just want to show you the fear-mongering, the insanity that they embrace on this topic. They know so little about, I can guarantee you. I can't even begin to express how extreme I would be if I was in his seat when it came to doing the tariff thing. And just do it. I don't care. Again, I don't care. It's like, do it. Burn the whole system. Accelerate, man. Doji's not cutting enough. They're not firing enough. I don't see federal employees lined up with signs yet. I haven't seen one outside of the grocery store asking for a loaf of bread from me. Until we see that, we haven't cut enough. There should be like maybe 25 guys in government. The rest of them exist in an on-call basis with firearms ready to, man a military or something. But hack it up. Keep going. Cut further. Gut it. Gut it. Let the free market step in, do some things maybe. Oh, they're not funding cancer research. Well, have they been funding it? For how long? Nothing's been done. Let's let some other parties take over that, perhaps. We'll get it figured out. We'll increase punishments for people who do bad things. We'll lock people up who make bad medicines. Make pharmaceutical companies less immune to prosecution and judicial oversight. There's a lot of things we can do. We got ways of fixing things. But, we'll fire some people. We'll just do some basic enforcement here and there. Citizen tribunals, maybe. We'll figure it out. We've come this far. So the article I wanted to get to is on Lew Rockwell. And I haven't read articles. If you're new to the channel, if you haven't been here in a few years, I used to do this quite a bit. It was just a way that I digested material, and I would just do it alongside the audience. And I guess the channel seemed to grow from that point. For some reason, some of you stuck around. You're like, this guy's just sitting here reading an article. And maybe it's you're driving, you're in your truck, you're a long-haul trucker. I've got some awesome friends that are truckers. Some of you are on this channel that are truckers. You truck around the country with your dog next to you in your seat. I think that's beautiful. That's awesome. What a companion. What a way to travel. What a cool job. A lot of respect. A really good friend of mine's actually a trucker. Drives all over the country. Hey, Anna, get your bone. Get your little dog bone and go chew on it someplace else. So let's read this article together. It's not very long, so if you have that disorder in which you can't suffer through a few words, I don't know what to tell you. Figure it out. But let's go through this real quick. This is the tariff issue by Paul Craig Roberts. It should be a familiar name if you've ever been on the Lew Rockwell website. He often is a guest writer there. So let's get into this. April 9th, 2025. That is today, so this is fresh off the press. The tariff controversy is being colored in the most scary ways possible because the Democrats, media, and ruling establishment want rid of Trump. It is also important to understand that tariffs are not the only way to limit imports. There are other means, such as quotas. Quotas on imports into the U.S. of Japanese cars were part of the U.S. auto producers' bailout negotiated in the final year of the Carter administration. I will attempt to put the issue in a correct perspective. It is not Trump's intention, at least at the present time, to institutionalize a tariff regime. I'm going to pause for a second. Remember, he did warn, and many understood and accepted the fact that there would be some turbulence in the beginning phases of the implementation of these long absent tariffs. I said long absent because they were once here. They once existed. Tariffs were a way of doing business. A lot of countries have them on us at much higher amounts than we do correspondingly or towards them. So let's get back. Okay. Trump is using tariffs. I will attempt. Okay. I got to figure out where I left off. Trump is using tariffs as a threat to secure agreements that he thinks are in America's interests. Now, some of these I might not agree with. Okay. Some of his threats and some of the interests. So far, 50 countries, 50 countries, according to reports, agreed to remove their tariffs on U.S. goods. The countries responding aggressively seem to be China and our European allies. So now MSNBC would just go to bat for China. So bizarre, so weird. I wonder if the big guys got him up to this. I explained, is there anything in Hunter Biden's laptop about tariffs? I don't know. Did he have like a document? Was he working on a thesis? Was that why he hauled around a laptop? I mean, he had to be very studious. He had a laptop, right? There must have been some files or dockets of information in which he documented things like this, and he was probably working on it. He's an international businessman. Surely he's versed in tariffs. Surely. Has he been on any interviews? I'd love to see his input. What is Hunter Biden, the international businessman and artist? Where does he stand on this? What does he think? Anyway, there's these 50 countries. The countries responding aggressively being China and our European allies. Are they our allies? We just kind of provide a defense umbrella, and then we go over there and we blow up their Nord Stream pipeline. We cut off their natural gas supply. Is that something allies do? I didn't know that. I explained yesterday how Trump could better have gone about his task. Nevertheless, as the Commerce Secretary said, Trump's tariffs are not expected to extend beyond a few weeks or a few months of negotiation. That's what this is. He's bringing them to the table. And I don't know, I think that was made clear by the people who truly understand this situation, the gravity of it, the exercise that's taking place here. A lot of people just don't get it. This is kind of his forte when it comes to business stuff. And yeah, he's bringing people to a negotiation table to have a starting point. And anyone knows when you go into negotiations, everyone starts off on the furthest part of their position, furthest away from each other. And then throughout the process, they come to an agreement in the middle. And then everyone signs stuff and walks away somewhat happier than they were, thinking they got a deal. So yeah, it wasn't expected to go very long. Now, during this time, there could be supply disruptions, okay? Apparently, Trump is aware and has released an 11-page appendix that exempts all sorts of imported items that U.S. producers require to continue their operations. So all the Democrats running around saying, we're not going to get medical supplies. Oh, Lord. He's cutting off medical supplies to children. No, you see, that's not true. But we do that to other countries when we do sanctions, you see. America cuts off baby formula, antibiotics, medicine. We do that. No one's doing that to us, all right? So
Junius,
untwist your panties and listen in here.
do you believe in science?
I believe in science. Oh, yeah, he's cutting off science. He's cutting off science. He's cutting off science. Don't talk to me. Don't lecture me about science. You don't know how many genders there are. You took an mRNA vaccine. Don't even begin to talk to me about science. You wore a mask thinking it was going to keep out this tiny, tiny little micron virus, like you were setting up a chain link fence to keep mosquitoes out of your yard. Don't talk to me about science. All right? I don't want to hear it. I don't care. You lost your opinion's validity back in 2020. All right? So go do something else. Go dye your hair another shade of purple and put another bolt in your ear. And don't forget to take your antidepressants, please. Or quit them. Quit them quickly, actually. Quit them right away. Don't taper. Just flush them all down the toilet. Never take them again. We'll continue. Whatever disruption does occur, it should be small compared to... Oh, here we go. Yes. These are the same people. I didn't even get to this part. These are the same people who did the COVID lockdowns. The people lecturing us on these little tariff things and these little economic maneuvers that are taking place. These are the people, the very people that cheered the complete locking up and seizing of the global economic machine for a cold. Okay, just keep these ideas in your mind. Notice the people. Notice. Be a noticer. Are you noticing yet? How much are you actually noticing, though? Coincidence, isn't it? The same people. All right, stop noticing. Let's get back to it. Apparently, Trump is aware, releases the 11-page appendix. So, again, this is an important point here. There are lists of items that U.S. producers require that are going to be able to be imported without the tariffs to continue their operations. Yeah, solves that problem. Great. Whatever disruption does occur should be small compared to the COVID lockdown supply disruption, the basic cause of the current inflation, among other things, than the printing of money. The COVID disruption was pointless and counterproductive. The tariff disruption, if there is one, is the cost of establishing a fair and uniform trading system. It's awesome. I'm all for it. I'm 100% for it. I love it. More. So Trump is not being arbitrary or on a rampage to destroy international trade. Tariff negotiations, especially with so many countries and products, can go on for years. Trump might think that he only has 2 years to get anything done before the Democrats steal the midterm elections and bring his renewal of America to a halt. I don't think it's going to happen. They can't. He just deported like 9 million of their voters. They're losing voting steam on the Democratic side. They're lost. They're eating each other. It is the most despondent group of pathetic miscreants. Have you seen them lately? Have you seen your average Democrat lately? They've lost their minds. Everybody knows Teslas have security cameras, and they're still keying them. I saw a video of a Democrat guy, a little left, woke, progressive, color revolutionary. I mean, Democrat's just a simple word. We should really expand it. Some Marxist. He walks up. He gets out of his car. First thing, he pulls his mask off because he's outside now. You only need it when you're in your car. He pulls it off and he goes over and he's being caught on the Tesla's rear view mirror cameras, which they're everywhere. Everyone knows they have them. And he starts furiously scratching and keying the Tesla truck, the Cybertrucks, just angrily getting his revenge against Doji and the Nazis who have taken over. Anyway, he got caught.
There's a great interview where this guy, he goes up to one of the protesters at the Hands Off event, and he's like, you guys have all these things on your signs saying, sell your Teslas. Sell it to who? So what does that person do when they buy it? Are you guys just going to do the same thing? They couldn't answer the question.
They can't answer the question. You know what? At this point, I've never wanted to own one more, and I never wanted one. Like the batteries are toxic, the production of them. It's a, I don't like the weakness in its range. What is it? 300 miles, the 12-hour charging or 20-hour charge, however, whatever. Charging it takes a long time. Battery replacement. There are some points to it that are kind of cool. The only reason I want to own a Tesla truck, a Cybertruck, right now, today, at this moment in time, at this point in the human timeline, in this point of history, is for bait. I just want it for bait. I just want to drive around in it strapped into certain locations, and I'm not going to blow someone away because they scratched my Tesla, believe me. I just want to use it as bait and just antagonize them, get in their face, maybe let them get in my face.
We got to go to the
maybe let them punch me or push me a little bit, and then, just swing a ball-peen hammer into their kneecap and just be like, sorry, man, you assaulted me first. I don't know. Maybe break their car, find out, go up to their little Subaru and just, do something to it. Pull the valve stems. I don't know. Bait. I think it'd be a great idea to have as bait.
We got to visit the comments for a second here. So, Clatro1 says, the noticing is unnoticeable once it's noticed.
The noticing
is unnoticeable once it's noticed. It's very profound.
Very, very deep.
Very deep.
That's an interdimensional statement he made.
We've got Nigel Best. Cannot imagine getting a keyed Tesla repaired. Badge of honor.
Oh, yeah. I'd leave it, actually. I'd leave it as a scar of battle.
AGOG, I want to put Tesla symbols on my truck.
Yeah. Keep going. More ideas. More.
Earlier today, when you were talking about Hunter Biden, Too Far Gone also said, I think he's busy building a different pipeline.
Oh, he probably is. He's got his little pipe, his little crack pipe.
Yeah.
Where else are we? Okay, I got to get back to this. Did we lose some of our friends? No. Okay, we're back at it. I got to get back to the article here. It's not that long, believe me. It's not a long article. So, okay, here we go. So Trump is not being arbitrary or on rampage to destroy international trade. Okay, we got to the they're not going to steal the midterms. I don't think they will. I think, again, he's swiftly moving towards demanding voter ID, which, of course, the Democrats don't want to do because they need all of their little dead people to vote. They need that 360-year-old guy who's still getting Social Security to vote, the vampire, the only living vampire in America, that 360-year-old guy. And then, of course, they need all the illegals, the Venezuelans, the Uruguayans, the Colombians, the Dominicans. I'm sure there's just so many various groups of people that the Democrats think they're going to get their votes, right? So that's the reason they let them all in to begin with. It was a strategy. It was a ploy. It was a tactic. And it's not going to work, I don't think, anymore. All right, so back to the article. President Trump has spoken on tariffs in a wider and much more important context over most of American history until the First World War. This is important. Again, this is a piece of history that I've talked about on this channel if you've been here the last 10 years. Many times, many different videos. I believe it's been featured in some of the tax discussions, executive order discussions. If you're a channel member, go into the archives. I don't know what videos. I've never cataloged this place. There is no Dewey Decimal System for my YouTube videos. There's no way to know. Maybe AI can one day search a video and find a phrase or, oh, that's a scary thought. That's a scary, whatever. Who cares? Come get me. But go into the archives. You might hear it pop up sometime. So this isn't the first time we've discussed tariffs on this channel. And anytime I've ever talked about them, it has been in a favorable way, a positive way. I will digress. I'm not always off the mark. I get pretty close sometimes to some things. The other day I watched the documentary, if you want to call it that, on the Forrest Fenn treasure. It's only a 3-part or 4-part little series. I watched them over a couple of days. I was interested. If you're part of this channel for the last decade, you'll remember back in like 2015 or 2016, I did a video on the Forrest Fenn treasure, and I gave you my ideas. I never looked for it. Never lifted a finger, never searched for it. I just didn't have the time. I was too busy doing other things and then go gallivanting into certain regions looking for a hidden box of gold. Although it was a great idea, it was fascinating. I was immediately enthralled with the entire tale. I followed it in the news over the years. If you go back and watch the video, go back, first watch the documentary, or watch the video first, then watch the documentary, and look at what I said in that video back then, how close I was to knowing where that thing was. Very few people at that time, even read the comments. There's people telling me I don't know what I'm talking about. They're like, oh, no, it's in New Mexico, guy. No, it's in Colorado. It's over here. And they were giving me all kinds of heck, right? And I read the poem that Fenn wrote. I did a little bit of research on his life. I knew that he lived in certain areas. I knew he worked in certain areas he hiked, areas he'd been to, areas he fished in. I got close. I got, no joke, when looking at the maps and the closest estimate to where it was found, I believe I got within probably 5 or 6 square miles. So I got close. I got closer than some. All right. And I believe the reason I said that is I was close on tariffs too. I was always for them. President Trump has spoken on tariffs in a wider, much more important context over most of American history. Until the First World War, tariff revenues were the source of government revenues. That is a critical and key sentence for you to know, and a historical fact when you carry forward the blade of truth to pierce the heart of the commies when it comes to your tariff discussions. When you're going after your communist sister-in-law this weekend at dinner, or whoever it is, your aunt, your uncle, and they're going off on tariffs, you're just bring up some of these key points. Oh, the really important stuff's not being slapped with tariffs. There's exemptions. And then this point is incredible. Most of American history until the First World War, tariff revenues were the source of government revenues. An income tax was unconstitutional, and it was a violation of freedom. The definition of a free person is a person who owns his labor. A slave does not own his labor, and a serf only owns part of his labor. A person required to pay an income tax does not own that part of his labor that he must provide to government in order to avoid imprisonment. So that's a very important point for all of you to understand. The difference between a medieval serf and an American taxpayer is the serf paid the tax in kind as hours worked, and the American pays the tax in money as a percentage of his income. But as many of you know, what is the formula? You work the first third or 40% of the year essentially for free, something like that. That you're working. I mean, if you add up how much taxes you're paying, depending on your income and what you guys do, but figure out how much you work for the government, your silent partner who's there, who you have to pay, who didn't help you, who took no risk, who never sat with you in class or schooling or education or trade school, who's never showed up to the job once, and yet wants that measurable percentage of your work, your labor, your efforts, your struggles. It's horrible. Classical economists, real economists, okay, real ones, unlike the faux ones of today, understood that factors of production, labor, and capital should not be taxed because the supply of both to the economy is reduced by taxation. Supply-side economics is based on this principle. Thus, its emphasis on lowering the marginal rates of taxation, reducing the supply of factors of production, reduces the economic growth rate and the national income. The century that the U.S. economy has labored under income tax has cost us substantially in lost income. The classical economists said that taxation should fall on consumption, not on factors of production. And when I look at that last sentence of that paragraph, I can only think of the people that I know who cut their work short. They earn less income. They'll take less jobs. They'll work less in a year to earn less income so they don't get pushed into other tax brackets. It destroys the incentive for productivity. It destroys people's desire to work hard and to earn more. And I can tell you from experience that there are times when you have to cut back a little bit in life. And I've known many people with such examples because of taxes and that ever overhanging threat of what the government's going to take from them. Traditionally imported items are finished goods. German cars, French wines, and perfumes. High-priced goods are for the wealthy, so tariffs fall on the rich. Somebody tax the rich! Remember when, what's that Hispanic AOC, right? Remember her tax the rich dress? I guarantee if you found a video of her right now, go look around. Someone will find. She's probably flipping out about. She's flipping out about tariffs.
She attended a gala that's like $30,000 a ticket.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So imported items are finished goods: German cars, French wines, perfumes. High-priced goods are for the wealthy. So tariffs fall on the rich. The working class does not indulge in Porsche cars and whatever this word is, Clicquot champagne. However, for about 30 years, much of our imports have consisted of the offshored production of U.S. firms. When Apple, for example, brings its products made in China to the U.S. to be marketed, they come in as imports and worsen the U.S. trade deficit. Instead of beating up on China, Trump should call the U.S. corporations that offshore their production for U.S. markets to a White House conference and point out to them the consequences of their policy. The shrinkage of the American middle class, the loss of tax base, decaying infrastructure, and lost population of America's former manufacturing cities, as you know, like Detroit. The pressure on city and state pension systems, the pressure of lower ratings on municipal bonds. Trump should ask the executives if they went too far in maximizing profits that benefited a relatively few at the expense of the many, and what they think they should do about it. Capitalism ceases to serve the general interest when it separates Americans from the incomes associated with the production of the goods and services that they consume. I would also look at, the exportation of jobs. How many, if there's a way to even look at what can be done about that? How many of you have been in sectors, or like Mrs. Maltby, where jobs are being outsourced to places like Dominican or India, places like that? How many U.S. jobs have been lost, I wonder, to overseas places, other countries? Trump has spoken of returning to tariffs as the source of government revenues and abandoning the income tax. This is crazy that people are flipping out about this. This is what really, it's actually mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. I want you to just contemplate that for a minute. The only other guy that I know that's ever ran for president who has ever articulated removing the income tax. Does anyone know his name? Does anyone know the name? Let's see. I'm looking. I'll wait. Paul S., thanks for the super chat, my friend. He goes, Dems don't want average Americans to get a tax cut, so they throw around the tax cuts for billionaires. BS. Yeah, Democrats hate tax cuts. Democrats want you to work for them because they don't work. They want you to give them their money. Ron Paul, you guys nailed it. Ron Paul was the guy that ran for president, and Irwin Schiff too. Yes, Irwin Schiff was a titan, a leader in the anti-tax movement. And that's where the focus needs to be. Stop flipping out about tariffs and stop being such a little basic, whiny, skinny, anemic bitch. If you're going to fight for something, fight against the income tax. That's where you need to channel your energy. That's where your hatred should be funneled towards that, the IRS, everything about it. Now, he has spoken of returning to tariffs as the source of government revenues and abandoning the income tax. I can't figure out why people would want to continue paying the income tax. Imagine if we could get rid of that. This is consistent with correct economics and with freedom. Such a change would be possibly the most important reform in American history. It would be a difficult reform to achieve because ideological, not economic, considerations intervene. Taxing the rich became the agenda of mass democracy. Taxing the rich was not seen as punishing a person for being successful. A successful person was portrayed as having become rich by exploiting labor. As fortunes were, quote, stolen by exploiting labor or resulted from government preference or legal privilege, income taxation was perceived as an instrument of justice. It is certainly perceived that way today by the liberal left and the Democrat Party. As an income tax is emotionally satisfying to the liberal left, we are stuck with slower economic growth and less national income. It is disturbing that the liberal left agenda has made American politics so highly partisan. What we see today is literal hatred of Trump Republicans, conservatives, and white heterosexuals by the liberal left. Hatred makes democracy dysfunctional. Politics cannot function as each side is intent on destroying any achievement by the other side. As democracy ceases to function, dictatorship becomes the means of governance. The liberal left's agenda to remake America by destroying its roots and recasting it into a different kind of society means the death of democracy and the rise of dictatorship. This is our real problem. So some interesting points there by Mr. Paul Craig Roberts on tariffs. Again, yes, they used to fund much of the United States government. That's how it was. I think there was even corporate taxes in there that helped create some of the revenues. But, yeah, I mean, just let's go. Let's keep going. That's why it doesn't bother. I don't care. Sorry, your portfolio's down. I don't care. Cry me a river, man. My 401k is hemorrhaging. Good. Figure it out. Go do something else then. Move it. Put it in something else. I don't know. Think I'm going to care about that? That's my problem. That's not my problem. Not my problem. So stop being the virgin tariff warrior. It's just not becoming of any of you. Beat the Chad. We'll see what happens. All right? It's going to be fine. Calm down. Pump the brakes. Cool it. You're flipping out about stuff you don't know shit about. That's what you need to tell these people. All right? Be like, you sound vaccinated. You sound like someone who took the vaccine for a free donut. That's what they sound like. Okay? That's what they are. Deep down inside, they don't know anything. They don't know what they're talking about. So, on this particular topic, on the tariff thing, a lot of people are wrong. Even a lot of Republicans are missing the mark. They just don't get it. They just don't get it. And I wouldn't expect them to. I mean, I wouldn't expect them to understand something like that. They're trying to get the popular vote with, they're wishy-washy. Some of them are rhinos. You know the types. You've seen them. You can hear them. They're on the news if you watch that kind of thing. Now, today, there was a change. He shifted gears a little bit. I think he brought the tariffs to 10% for a lot of those countries, paused the massive increases everyone was losing it about. And then the only one that he kept at the high levels was China, and I think he put them to like 125% for China. He's just reckoning a little bit, trying to get him to go. He's going toe-to-toe with China, I guess, on this. But the markets rebounded today. They came back like 2,300 points. Biggest rebound since 2008, something like that was in the news. I saw the headline. Gold cranked it out today. It did like I think $100 move at one point. I looked, it was like 108 up. Now it's up in futures. It looks like 55.50. Gold up at $3,134.90 here, quoted on CNBC. A lot of gold moving around. I think there is some positioning for that in preparation for tariffs, but there's trade wars going on right now. You're witnessing, a trade war type of an event, currency wars. There's some friction on these economic fault lines. Gold's reacting. That's great. It'll probably keep reacting. It's also reacting to, I would imagine, a slingshot rubber band effect of massive inflation experienced with the U.S. dollar for the last long time, but especially the last 5 years. So, this is nothing new to us. We were calling these gold prices months ago, years ago. We knew this. $3,000 gold is not news on this channel. It's not a surprise. It's not breaking news. It's not something we're jumping up and down about because it's priced in to our psyche. We already knew. We knew this was coming. Don't act surprised. If you act surprised, then you act like you didn't know. Of course we knew. We called it. We nailed it. How many times did you hear me say the phrase multi-decade bull run in gold? Multi-decade bull run. You're in a multi-decade bull run. Dynastic wealth preservation over time. The ultimate extinguisher of debt. The liquidity anchor. The ultimate unit of account. The ultimate medium of exchange. All goods and services ultimately find settlement in gold. Even Marx knew that. The commie. So, we knew it. And it's not going to stop there. That's the thing. It's not going to stop. It's not going to retreat. Anyone who's bearish on gold is just an idiot. People who don't hold any gold have problems. They're not prepared. They're not doing well. Especially when you look at how well it has preserved people's wealth. If you had a significant position in gold and you had been building it just in the last 5 years, you would have maintained some serious purchasing power up until this point still. The guys in the markets, they've taken quite a bit of a hit recently. I mean, if you just look at the Dow futures, what are we at here? Let me get it pulled up. And, I'm not going to get into the big view yet here. We're just going to look at a few things. I just wanted to check this out. What is it for the year here? They don't even have the 1 year change up on here. They should. But I mean, it's you look at just the last 3 months. 45. We're now at 40, so you could just do the math there and figure it out. It dipped down to like 38, below 38 the other day, 37.86. At one point, it was down like 15. There's your year-to-date change is 5.65. It's down 5.65%. But keep that in mind for a second. It's down 5.65 currently. It was down more than that. I know it was down like 10 or 15 at some point. But, you go to gold. Where's it at? Here we go. The year-to-date is up 16. So gold is beating the Dow right now on pace from January 1 by like 23, 22%, somewhere in there. What's the math? 5.65, 16.6, whatever, 22%, roughly, quick off the top of the head math. It's devastating. Gold is devastating the Dow right now. The 1 year change on gold, 26.26% up, just cleaning house. Rocking and rolling. Beautiful chart. Just set up for success. It's continuing onward like nothing's going on. We got 5 years just marching to its own drum, its own beat, just breaking records, taking names, dominating the entire economic arena because it's not going to retreat. That's my assessment, my opinion anyway. I mean, when you look at the history of this channel, what we've talked about, what we've gone over, the material, the content we've digested over time, you should be pretty confident in what you're seeing take place here. Yeah, it's pretty epic. Pretty epic. By comparison, and I've been looking at this. Here we go. I mean, silver is still underperforming compared to gold. It's 1 year %5. It's still beating the Dow, though. Year to date, it's beating the Dow. If you go to the Dow's down 5.6. It's beating the Dow this year by almost 11% total. But 1 year change 5.47. Hopefully it catches up. I mean, you look at its 5 years. It's trending upward for sure. Absolutely. I mean, it's definitely not down here anymore. 1490 back in April 26th of 2020, 5 years ago. It's another low here. We got in 2022, we were sitting at 1788 in August. Fast forward to 2024 in January. We were at $22 last year, 2280, and then it started rising right about February of last year. And it's been marching. It took a little bit of a hit recently with all the news and the people selling their silver and gold contracts. Both metals took a pretty good hit with that economic news breaking because they were covering losses. They always do that. We've always talked about it. They always have to cover, and I don't get that. We're losing money on our Nvidia stock. We're losing money on Ford. We're losing money on this. Sell the gold. That's the last thing that's the last thing I would do if I was one of these big companies. I'd be like, sell the rest of the shit stock. Keep the gold. Buy more. But I don't run a fund, so whatever. I run my own little fund. It's my fund. All right, friends. One more, or I'm not going to read it, but I'll point it out to you. Tax collector article on Lou Rockwell by Ricky Cochran, April 9th, 2025. Go check it out. Check it out. This is a good tax collector article here on tax collectors. Get after it. And get out there. Fight the, be this guy. Please, I want to hear some stories. I want to hear you guys, slap some little virgin tariff warriors around. It's funny how many people, I mean, so many people worry about it. They flipped out this week. I got to get back to it because it's still in my head. I knew so many people that were freaking out about this news. And it's actually funny to witness. People thought we were going into an economic depression or like immediately. Like it was going to be like you were going to wake up tomorrow morning and eggs were going to be either not at the grocery store, they're going to be $20 a piece, there was going to be no food, everyone was going to lose their jobs, all manufacturing was going to shut down, there would be no medical supplies, no medicine, and we were going to be in this apocalyptic third world shithole, essentially like what most Democrats want to make anyway. So you'd think they would have liked it. Like, oh yeah, like the country's all your voters come, that's what we're going to try to build. Open sewage, yeah, that's what we're going to do here. We're just going to, brownouts, rolling brown, power's intermittent maybe. No, it's not going to happen. Don't worry about it. I'm not worried about it. And you know what? Devil's advocate, whatever you want to call it. Worst case scenario. Not talking worst case scenario. The whole thing goes to shit. Blows up. I'm talking full-blown acceleration. Total. I mean, it's done. The destruction phase from the course of empire painting. You know what I'm talking about? If you've been here for a while and you've studied that piece of art. I mean, we're there. It's happening. It's on. Okay, then. All right. I figured out then. That's not like that's a scenario we haven't computed. We shall rebuild. Life finds a way, to quote Dr. Ian Malcolm, right? Life just finds a way. We'll figure it out. It'll be fine. There's no problem we can't fix. You got enough 556. Everybody's got enough 556. There shouldn't be a problem that you can't fix. All right? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You feel me? You got other ways. Get some food. Move away from the big cities. Get away from those urban centers. Learn to plant, grow things, work on things, have a community. And then who gives a shit? I don't care what happens. There's already open feces in San Francisco. I mean, how much worse can it get? I've seen the videos of people in Philadelphia staggering around, the zombies, the open filth, the tent encampments. Leave. Just leave. I'm not worried about it. Who cares? How much worse can it get there? Okay, good friends, E.W. Fisher, thanks for the super chat, my friend. He goes, I just paid off my last debt, so even if the tariffs have an effect that impacts me, I have an extra $500 a month to deal with it. I'm not worried. Good for you, man. That's awesome. Solid work. Way to be frugal and get things under control. Oliver Smith, I'm a 1 gram gold bar per day per paycheck guy right now. I'm a 1 gram of gold bar per paycheck guy. So you're buying 1 gram per paycheck. Solid. But that's it for today, my friends. It's good. That's it. That's all I wanted to talk about. I wanted to share this meme because I thought it was hilarious. And just wanted to, talk about the tariffs. Promote them. Tell you who cares. Don't worry about it. You're just looking a little bit too feminine when you freak out about stuff like that. No one wants to be around a bunch of feminine guys. Toughen up. All right. That's it for today's broadcast. Now that this is all set up, this new location in the office and all the wires are run, we might be able to get back to a more regular program and scheduling on these issues. If there's any questions or topics you guys would like to discuss in the chat on the subjects or any further entertaining stories I could offer you before I decide to just shut it off and go make myself another cup of tea for the evening. Let's see, Throckmorton, thanks for the super chat, good friend. He says, just grateful to hear your voice again, brother. My best to you and Mrs. Maltby. Well, Throck, I'm glad that there's some guy out there who wanted to hear me come back on here and talk. I appreciate it. That's a compliment. Just grateful to hear me on here again. Well, that'll keep me coming back then. If just to hit you with some more boring news and tariff talk. Oh, man. All right, you guys get out there. Keep fighting the fight. You know what to do. Don't worry about the stuff that doesn't need to be worried about. It's not going to change. It's not going to affect you very much. It's only going to get better. It's going to be awesome. Take care of yourselves, all of you, and have a good rest of your night. Go do something. Go touch grass. Go walk around your neighborhood or in your backyard. Play with your dog.
Go spray paint a Tesla.
Hug your wife. And just be an overall good person.